All right, hey everyone, thank you for downloading the old podcast, Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's going on, West Coast?
Not much. Same old. It's hot.
Oh, please, tell me about it.
How's it? Yeah, how's it in New York?
It's like 90-something degrees out here. And the only reason why my air conditioner is off is so you people can hear me.
My air conditioner's on, and I'm enjoying it.
There you go. What a quiet air conditioner.
It's really far away from me right now.
So it's doing its job in its one room.
Yes, that it is. Hey, I have more than one room.
Oh, I apologize.
I have two.
So, you know, me and you, we were talking. We were going to actually record this a couple of days ago, but some things came up. Couldn't do it, which is actually probably for the better because some big news came out since these last few days.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Yeah, we were just going to hop on and just BS the whole time. But Nintendo decided to actually throw us a bone and give us something to talk about.
I know. They're recreating My First Girlfriend.
Well, actually, they're recreating 30 of them. So,
all 30?
Well, yeah. And because if you're not living under a rock, Nintendo, the mini-NES, as people are calling it, or the official name, NES Classic Edition, is being released by Nintendo. Apparently, the people behind Mario and Zelda have decided to join into the old plug-and-play of these retro game mini consoles.
Yeah, and I just think it's an absolutely brilliant idea because they are going to reintroduce Nintendo, the original Nintendo, to a whole new generation of kids and reintroduce it to all of us grown-ups who used to love playing it as kids.
And I think that's exactly, you hit it right on the head, because I think that's exactly what they're looking to do, because this system, it's a mini, I mean, there's been systems, or Atari, ColecoVision, Sega Genesis, these plug-and-play games that are preloaded with video games. So, and they sell. I mean, they're fun. Usually go into a store and you find them for like 20, 25, 30 bucks. This one's going to be 60 because Nintendo's behind it, but it's got 30 of, I'll say 30 of the best games that they can possibly come up with.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. And I think one of the coolest things about it is when you look at these games, if you were to purchase these separately, whether you're a retro game collector and you want the actual, cartridges, or if you went on Wii U on their virtual console to buy them, or even purchasing them online. I don't know if they're available online, but if you were, it would cost you a lot more than $60 to get these 30 games.
God, yeah. I mean, the virtual console alone, they're $5 each. So
yeah, so you're looking at a tremendous savings, and you're also looking at the simplicity of just plugging it into your TV and playing it, which is awesome.
And that's the beauty, because it's shaped like a little mini NES system. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's going to come with the old school retro rectangle controllers, official Nintendo controllers, and that's the whole. You just plug HDMI input, so it's obviously for the modern televisions, because I know a lot of people with the old systems trying to hook them up to the new televisions is always a little bit of a half a millisecond delay that throws everything off. So I'm sure this is going to do that, get rid of that. And I really wouldn't call this an emulator, because I feel like because it's coming from Nintendo firsthand, we can consider these like the original games. Yes, I know it is an emulation because there's no physical media, which we'll get into in a moment, because some people are already complaining about that. But I would consider this better than an emulator.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, if Nintendo's the one, they're with the tech, it's their technology, it's their original system, it's their games. Yeah, I would expect it to be better than an emulator, because why would, if there's anything Nintendo does, they never do anything second rate, Virtual Boy aside. But
stop mocking the Virtual Boy.
I will mock the Virtual Boy until my dying day, or until your dying day, when it stops being funny, because you still own one. But I think that Nintendo is known for their quality. Granted, they're not the head honcho in video games anymore, because at least video games out today have passed them by to a degree. Mm-hmm. But I think that, I think these will be legit. I mean, I think they'll be an honest and direct port of all of these games.
Totally. And like you mentioned in the beginning, this is for those kind of wanting to recapture their youth or introduced to a new generation the games that we grew up on. And like I mentioned just a few moments ago, some people, one of the complaints already, I mean, this thing's been announced for about 3 days now, but one of the complaints that some people had is the fact that there's only going to be 30 games. No more, no less. It's not upgradable. You can't fit. It's smaller than a cartridge anyway, because I think when pictures first came out, some people thought you can play a cartridge. Because there's a Sega Genesis plug-and-play that will do that. That will play cartridges. But this is just strictly the 30 games.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I don't think that's a problem, because
no, I agree
first off, the majority of consumers don't have their cartridges anymore. Mm-hmm. Collectors, I'm sure, have their cartridges, but in the case of these games, anybody who's complaining about it, it's like you can either go buy the cartridge, or if you have it, you can play those and you don't have to purchase this.
I think the people who are complaining are the quote-unquote hardcore gamers, because, you know what I mean? Like, this is strictly designed to just recapture your youth, and for those just kind of walking by and just like, oh, I remember these games, $60. Hey, you can't beat that. And I think that's exactly, it's not for the hardcore gamers, because the hardcore gamers probably already have most of these games, whether emulator, virtual console, or original copies.
Right. Yeah, like looking at this list, I can tell you with a good level of certainty that I have almost every one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, just real quick, I mean, you can find the list online, but just real fast, I mean, there's only 30 of them. And I already own most of them from Virtual Console, whether the Wii U, or even 3DS. And some of them are actually kind of shocked, which I'll explain why in a moment. You got Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, and Castlevania 2. I don't know why they didn't go with 3, but 1 and 2.
Well, they're desperately trying to get people to play Castlevania 2 because nobody liked it.
I keep meaning to download it too, just to play it, just for the heck of it. Donkey Kong, DK Jr., Double Dragon 2, not 1, but 2. But I always thought 2 was better than 1.
2 was better.
Yeah. Dr. Mario, Excite Bike, Final Fantasy. I was actually kind of shocked to see that one. I mean,
that's really cool.
And as you can see, they're not all Nintendo first party Nintendo games.
Right.
Galaga, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, the game I hate the most in my entire life, Mario Brothers.
Why do you hate Arcade Mario Brothers?
Because the game drives me nuts because of the physics in the game that you're always slipping and sliding, and I from day one for 30 plus years, I've hated that damn game.
Oh, God.
Mega Man 2, probably the best of all the Mega Men.
Yep.
Metroid, Ninja Gaiden, or Gaiden, I guess depends on where you come from.
Gaiden.
Pac-Man, there you go. There's a good one.
Right.
Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream. Star Tropic. Yeah.
Where's Mike Tyson when you need him?
Well, the longest rumor was that they kicked him off because of the rape charges, when in reality, I think he just didn't re-sign the contract.
I'm sure the rape charges didn't help.
Well, yeah, that was after the fact, totally. But still a good game. Either way, whether Mike Tyson or Mr. Dream, I never got up to the last guy anyway.
Oh, I beat that game.
Star Tropics, which I would be interested in playing. Super C. Now, here's the fun. That's a sequel to Contra. You never see Contra. You always see Super C, which is weird. I don't know why they never released Contra.
Yeah, it's one of those confusing things, too, because when I looked at the list, the first thing that I noticed that was missing was Contra.
I mean, Super C's an awesome game. Don't get me wrong. I kind of like it better than Contra.
Yeah, but it's not Contra.
You're right. It's not the original. And then you got Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, Tecmo Bowl, which I think is pretty cool, Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. So this, for 30 games that are not getting upgraded or anything else, you have a little bit of everything in this list. And I think, short of maybe 1 or 2 games, they nailed this right on the head.
I agree with you. There are a couple on there that I'm looking at and I'm wondering why. Like, to me, Galaga and Gradius, however you want to say it, to me they're kind of similar. I guess one's side-scrolling, one's overhead. That's why they put both. Star Tropics, I'll be honest with you, I never played.
Yeah, neither have I. So that'd be cool to play. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one more than the rest because it's the only game. I think that and Kirby's Adventure are the only 2 games on this list that I have not played.
I think I don't think I've ever really truly played the original Final Fantasy, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a good game.
Yeah.
Not to sidetrack for a second, but since our last podcast, we had talked about Shining Force 2, and I am about 2/3 of the way through it now.
Original game, or is it the one from the Sega Genesis collection?
It's from the Sega Genesis collection.
Fair enough, no problem.
I did not feel like dusting off my Genesis.
I know. I saw. Don't worry. I have a Shining Force, a Game Gear version on my 3DS. I keep eyeing on it. Eventually,
Plus, it's safer playing it on the Xbox, because if I remember correctly, the last time I played Shining Force 2 on Genesis, I was 90% done with the game, and it crashed.
There you go.
Lost my save, so I've been traumatized ever since.
Oops. But yeah, no, there's really not a lot of games on here that I've never played. But now, right off the bat, would you buy this?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And it's, granted, owning games over and over and over again may not be appealing, but again, it's the nostalgia factor. It's also Nintendo doing something really, really clever that the other video game companies aren't doing. Mm-hmm. Nintendo is going after those retro gamers from the past, the lapsed gamers.
The pure casual gamers.
Yeah, and the casual gamers. That's why the Wii was so successful, because the Wii was able to market towards every single age and both genders, whereas the PlayStation and Xbox, they have their core audience, and that's all that they go after. Now, granted, they're doing a great job because they're making tons of money. Nintendo, on the other hand, has to fight a little bit harder because they're going after, they're trying to go after a different group of people.
Yeah.
And since the Wii, like the Wii U didn't have the success that the Wii had, I think this is absolutely perfect because, again, you're going to go after those lapsed gamers, those casual gamers who used to play these games when they were kids but don't play these games anymore. It's a great throwback. It's kind of similar to when Atari did it, when ColecoVision did it, when you went into the store and you were able to buy those and they had like 100 games built into them. And those immediately were appealing to me because I'm like, oh, man, I remember playing Atari and Coleco when I had them as a kid and, made me want to play them again too. Same thing here.
Oh, totally. No, I agree with you. And with that, having the little, I mean, granted, it fits in the palm of your hand, but just having that classic NES system, and you still have to press the power button on the front of it to get it started.
Yep.
And you have the classic rectangle controllers with Nintendo on it. We've seen them so many times at these, at Comic-Cons where they're reproduced, but without the Nintendo logo, it's just not the same. So you're going to get these goes. And to make a note, the system comes with one controller. You can buy a second one for $10, which isn't bad. Now, as much as this is in my opinion, the perfect mix of old school and new, someone like me, I literally own 3/4 of these games through Virtual Console already. But the fact that the controllers will plug into the Wii remote and you can use it on the Virtual Console for Wii and Wii U, to be honest, I may just skip the system, go straight to the controller, because even if I bought the games I don't own, it's still going to cost me $50 if I download the games individually that I don't own.
Right.
And for that matter, Bubble Bobble and Final Fantasy aren't even available on Virtual Console because I checked.
So there you go. So you need to buy this.
I may have to. So
well, and if you buy it and you don't seem to enjoy it, or it's not working for you, or you want the controller instead of the system, I'm sure it makes a great paperweight.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be. Totally.
Because imagine having that at work, and everybody's like, oh, look, what is that? Oh, this is my cool little Nintendo paperweight. And when they walk away, just, turn it on and play on your computer screen.
Why many people are going to complain that they can't open the front door on it? Because that's just for aesthetic purposes. Nothing on it opens.
It would be cool, though, if you could open the front door.
And blow into it?
Yeah, exactly. But you can't put a game in it.
Of this list, which one are you really looking forward to of these games?
Well, I'm curious about Star Tropics and Kirby because I haven't played those. Mm-hmm. But I got to say, my appeal for Kid Icarus is strong. I loved that game.
I played the game for the first time in my life maybe about a year and a half ago. Because it was like a free download. I got points or something, and I got a free download. I never played that a day in my life. So that is a fun game.
It's such a cool game, and it was it was so different from everything else because it was like that vertical climber game.
Yes.
Kind of like Ice Climber, but you never stop freaking climbing. But just like the cool weapons that he got and all this stuff, like it was just super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that game.
I'm looking forward to Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl, I think it was 3 I played on Genesis, was probably the first football game I played on the system. And I remember the first game I played, I was New England against Miami, and I beat Miami 138-7.
That's it?
Yeah. So,
see, now that game, I understand the appeal to the game, and it's football and that. I would happily trade that out for Blades of Steel.
yeah, no hockey on that. Well, I guess you would think they maybe would have done a couple of
bases loaded or something.
Yeah, right. But then you got Zelda 2, and of course
which
all
I'll
three
play ad nauseum. Of course.
right. All 3 Mario Brothers. I wonder if this is also going to have and I'm not talking like they added in for nostalgic purposes, but remember all the slowdowns and stuff you get sometimes in these old games, like if too many characters are on the screen.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see my blinking gray screen. I don't want to see the game load and blink at the same time when I used to do that.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, none of that stuff. Thank you.
So, Nintendo, I think you've done good this time. And with the success of this, maybe, because this comes out November 11th of this year. With the success of this, do you think we'll get a mini Super Nintendo next year?
I really hope so, because there are a ton of Super Nintendo games I never got a chance to play that I am dying to play.
That would be interesting. And I know a lot of people looking more... Some people I spoke to, some friends of mine, more were Super Nintendo than Nintendo. But if I have a feeling with the success of this, you're not going to see a mini N64 or a mini GameCube. But with the Nintendo and Super Nintendo, if they do it with the SNES, like I said, again, big time plus from Nintendo.
I wouldn't rule out a mini N64, to be honest with you, because it was cartridge based. Granted, they were larger cartridges, but considering the size of flash drives these days and how much you can fit on them, I wouldn't be surprised if you had a mini N64 at some point, if this one is successful.
I guess. And I think you're right on that one. But for now, we got the mini NES, and we'll see how that goes. Again, November, so we got to wait a little while for holiday 2016.
Yes, it's the perfect Christmas gift for every player, young and old.
Every boy and girl.
Every boy and girl.
All right. Well, Nintendo, thank you very much for giving us something to talk about. Let's give them.
Yeah, because usually we don't have anything to talk. Don't do that.
Too late.
Don't do that. You're just going to turn all of our listeners away, all 3 of them.
Oh, my mother won't stop listening. So, with that, and then when it comes back around, we'll definitely test it out. We'll see what's going on, and who knows? I know you're definitely going to get it. I may just F it. Just
no
get
question.
it myself. Yeah. But it's funny because when that came out, I kind of went on to my Wii U and started looking at all the classic, the virtual console games I got. And it almost made me start wanting to play even the games that aren't on this list, just games I've already owned on the console.
Well, imagine that, playing games that you have on the console.
Yeah, honestly, I
completely foreign concept.
Should stop buying them and not play them. So.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Aren't we all? I'm sure I still have games in shrink wrap.
Although, Shining Force 2, take my way.
Let us know how you do, especially for next week when we come back again for the Retro Gamers. And so how far did you get into it? Like 2/3 of the way through, you said?
I'm 2/3 of the way through.
Was it that one, or was it the first one that had that dumb little character Yogurt or something like that? Or was it? No, not Yogurt. Oh, dang it. He had a really weird name, and he did absolutely he was useless.
Are you talking about Shelly the Turtle?
No, no. I remember the turtle. Yes,
because Shelly the Turtle is the useless character in the second one. So I'm going to guess the yogurt guy.
He had like a helmet on, and I don't know if it was a prairie dog or something.
No, that's Shelly the Turtle. He's got a little helmet on, and
I know it wasn't named Shelly because I remember it wasn't that easy of a name.
Oh, man, it's Shelly the Turtle.
Okay, we'll go with Shelly the Turtle. Shelly the Turtle, you stink.
At least he wasn't created by Nintendo.
Nah, I guess that's true. So, all right, well, we're going to see how the success of this is, and I think with that, we may end up calling it a week this week. And
short and sweet.
About it. Yeah, why not? I don't think people like to listen for too long, at least not yet.
I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to listen to me for too long either.
Honestly, right? So with that being said, thank you very much for joining us.